Hello. I'm hoping we should be presenting. Just give everyone a few moments. Jag, have you got me?
Yes, I have. Can you hear me? Hello?
So welcome everyone. We'll kick off to today's user group meeting in amongst all this lovely dynamic lifestyle of COVID-19. So we'll get underway. As many of you know, this is our April meeting. We're doing it through Microsoft Teams live event. And welcome everyone to this month's meeting. So a little bit about me. I've been running the group now for 11, 12 years now. Indirectly, directly, I think it's now to 11th or 12th year. And I am pretty much covered in everything, SharePoint, O365, Teams, Power Apps, Flow, everything like that. As a group update, yes, we are recording this session as well. My plan is to have all the sessions recorded this year. We have recorded the previous 2 months. And yes, we will be also having another live event next month as well, because given the circumstances, I think that's probably still the best until everything settles down. Quick note of COVID, please check trusted sites, get the best information, and do what everything everyone else is saying. You know, good hygiene, clean your hands, social distancing. A bit about the user group. We meet on the third Tuesday of each month. And we're always looking for new speakers and quick sessions of, quick little apps or workarounds that you've done in SharePoint or O365 or Teams or Yammer or another product. And yeah, we can always squeeze people in. And what do we cover? Like I just said, we cover a whole bunch of topics and everything in between. Pretty much everything that's connected to Office 365 and Microsoft 365 these days, as I mean they're pretty much intermingled, and there's more on that as well. So as a brief speaker lineup, this month we have Jag, who's been involved in SharePoint and O365 for a lifetime and a half. Next month we have myself presenting, and also Michael and Joel, and a big name, Mark D. Anderson, as well presenting. So plan is to get them, well, they have committed to present, and get them to bring their content to Adelaide and the rest of the world now that we're all going virtual. Quick note about the Australian Computer Society. This does count towards your hours, towards your computer professional certificate and CP. It's been around for 50 years. It actually did start in South Australia and then went nationally all those years ago. It's well worth having a look at if you haven't checked it out already. And just as I said, we do have, he's not in the state next Wednesday, we do have the hours appointed for your CP hours. And Andrew Johnson's the new CEO, and he was in Adelaide last month. Sorry, I haven't updated that. All the virtual events, because pretty much everywhere is virtual. The big announcement is the Business Summit events, Business Application Summits has opened up registrations virtually to everyone at no cost. So that is happening on, I believe, the 6th of May, and well worth registering, checking out. It is US hours, so keep that in mind, please. And there we go, it's the 6th of May, 2020. It's a digital event. Some other big news as well is regarding the Office 2010 and SharePoint 2010 support. SharePoint 2010 has gone into extended support. Now, Office 2010 itself has not. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, everything like that, that is still set to retire in October this year, with the exception of SharePoint. Check it out. You're going to have to assess, you're going to have to get these updated. This will mean the end of security updates, so it's something you definitely want to keep on top of. As I said, SharePoint 2010 has gone into extended support due to COVID-19. Microsoft has decided to keep the wheels turning on that. However, April 13th is the new date for Foundation Server and Project Server to officially retire. The path is for the upgrade, obviously SharePoint 2019, which is a double hop upgrade as well. It's a lengthy process, so start planning it now. Likewise, with moving to the cloud, depending on the strategy that you want to take forward, you're going to need to get some planning in. So certainly worthwhile getting planning in early rather than later. Even during these times, it's something certainly to put on the radar because of the end of life and the security implications around these products. On a side note, as I said, just don't put it off. It's going to be a big job. Now, another big bit of news, O365 to become Microsoft 365 in a lot of places. So Business Essentials is now Basic Business, Business Premium is now Business Standard, and so forth. So the one exception here is the O365 E1, E3, E5. They are staying O365 at the moment. There's been no talk, as far as I'm aware, of moving those over. However, there has been some chatter from the public and other sides about when, if, how, and everything. All things considered, this sort of makes sense by Microsoft to start to rebrand some of these features as well. So please be aware that they are coming through. The one exception, also another one to add, is the Family Pack as well, that Microsoft is now introducing as well. That's the O365 where you get the 5 subscriptions. That's now Microsoft Family Pack as well. The roadmap, certainly worthwhile checking out, signing up to, bookmark it, see what's coming, see what's going, especially in the recent times with COVID-19. Features, plans, strategies, everything is changing up in the air. It's definitely worthwhile keeping on top of, certainly to see what's coming up in the pipeline that's hit the release or the accepted stage. And then that way you can see what's going on. There are a whole bunch of other Microsoft programs, the Dev Kit, if you want to have a play with O365 but not too sure where to start. There is a free developer trial you can get, which is an E5 account. Now, E5 has pretty much everything under the sun. So it is the full-blown account, and it's valid for 3 months, and you get access to a whole bunch of content in there as well. Microsoft Insider programs as well. There's a whole bunch of Insider programs it's worthwhile to sign up to. Certainly the Office Insider program for obvious reasons, and also the Windows and Visual Studio one I've certainly taken advantage of. Working from home, as we're all doing it, there's a whole bunch of resources out there. Check them out. Just don't download and run. It sounds very tempting to do, but by default, such products as Microsoft Teams isn't the most optimized. Certainly for things like live events or meetings and external sharing and guest sharing, and knowing the difference between what an external user is and a guest user. These does have implications. Obviously, each team does sort of come with a SharePoint site, an email account, OneDrive folder. There's a few bits and pieces that happen in the background, so please take care of those, because when time is over, this current existing time, we will look at reintegrating these data into your own networks, and you want to sort of make that job more easier than harder. So plan and deploy, don't download and run. Microsoft Press discount. We do have a press discount, or book discount for Microsoft Press, sorry. For the user groups, where if you are stuck at home and you want something to read, it is worthwhile checking out. We do have the discount codes there. We do have other local user groups. We are all moving pretty much to online events for obvious reasons. These are the local Adelaide ones that we do sort of communicate and catch up and cross-pollinate as well. Worthwhile checking out the Office 365 user group, officehouse.net. The data and analytics is very heavily on Power BI, SQL Server. That's Rob Farley's user group. Then you've got the actual Power BI user group, Dynamics, Azure, and IT Pro, and then the ACS also have a bunch of SIGs, which are the special interest groups. To check out if you're a member, and non-members are also welcome to those groups too. So thank you to all of our sponsors, Microsoft, for providing the venue this month, as well as myself for providing catering, so thank you. But in all seriousness, no, thank you very much for Microsoft for the use of their venue. Without them, we certainly wouldn't have a place to meet as easily and essential as we do. When these times are over, we'll be back at Microsoft, the usual time and place. So just to recap, speaker lineup. So today we have Jag, who, as I said, is going to be presenting on some really cool stuff, and the rest of the lineup the whole year. So worthwhile checking out. I will keep a list up to date. Check out the Facebook, LinkedIn page and group that we have. I'll be posting updates as soon as subjects and descriptions come through. And as soon as they do, I'll also got the registration links opened as well. So early bird is open at the moment for every event. It's just a matter of getting the details as time progresses, because obviously, you know, November's a long way out. We're not sort of looking in sort of topics and descriptions at the moment, but Matthew has committed to presenting. So thank you, Matthew. And you can find us on social media. The biggest ones are LinkedIn and Facebook, and our website as well, which really just points to LinkedIn. So check us out on LinkedIn. I've also got various links that I post for topic suggestions, which the presenters do ask for. So if you do have a topic suggestion and you want to see it, I'll post those links shortly and submit it, and I can put it forward to the presenters, you know, quality presenters that we can get to present quality topics for you, and hopefully bring some quality information into Adelaide and share it around. So without me taking up too much more time, I will hand over to Jag, who has graciously said he would present to the user group. So I'll just swap over to him with the live event, and I'll let him take it.
Thanks, Daniel. Can you confirm whether you can actually hear me? Hey, Daniel, can you hear me? Yeah, all right. Okay, just a second. Let me quickly share my screen, and then I can pretty much get going. Hey, Daniel, can you confirm whether you can actually hear me now, please? I'm getting a message saying that I've been muted. I've unmuted myself now. Perfect. I think it's. Okay. Hello. 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 Can you hear me, Daniel? All right. Sharon, mine has confirmed that I can hear. All audio is good. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the confirmation. So I'll just quickly share my screen, and we can get going. All right. So thanks for inviting me for presenting in this user group, Daniel. So today, what we're looking at is we're looking at how to boost employee engagement, especially for remote workforce. Now that we're all working remotely and working from home, essentially, due to the coronavirus pandemic, it is very prudent for us to make sure that our employees are engaged. In today's talk, we're going to look at how we're going to use Office 365 platform as a whole to support our remote workforce. So this is few examples that I wanted to showcase. Especially some of these examples are currently being used with some of my customers. So what I've done is I've actually put together a remote work portal on how to bring everything across and help our remote workforce. So, Daniel has already introduced me a bit about myself. I've started my own organization called Modern Work Group, essentially delivering user adoption and business solutions to customers here in Australia. So I'm an MCSE, done my Office 365 certifications, and I'm also TOGAF certified as well. And I've got a bit of connection with Adelaide. So Adelaide is where I started my education journey here in Australia back in 2005, I think. So I did my master's of software engineering in Uni Adelaide, and I actually like to always come back and visit Adelaide, and I do have few customers in Adelaide as well. So having said that, let's actually jump on into the actual content for today's session. So why do we need to care about employee engagement, right? So even before looking at how can you actually boost your employee engagement, it is important for us now, especially due to this pandemic, especially when people are isolated and working from away from your offices. It is really important for us to ensure that your employees are engaged and productive and are motivated to do the job done, get the job done. So it is really important for us to create that sort of community, a sense of community going, irrespective of where an employee is actually working. So um, and as you all know, the things have actually changed, right? So the way that we are interacting with our colleagues, with our clients have changed. For example, myself, the way I deliver my consulting engagements through training engagements have all changed as well, as you know, and the things have actually changed for good. I'm guessing as well. So the norms that usually that we're bound to during catching up with our mates or catching up with our colleagues or even with the customers have changed too. The dress codes that we are on or video calls have changed. Previously when you have kids or pets come up on your online meetings, it was frowned upon, but not anymore. It is actually welcome now to actually have that sort of interaction going on, and so things definitely have changed. And the good part of this is I think some of these changes are going to be permanent. Some of your workforce are going to become permanent remote workforce, or a semi-permanent workforce, like working 3 to 4 days a week or so. So with that said, it is really important for us to make sure that this remote workforce are engaged and stay productive and stay motivated. So let's look at what can we do to actually boost an employee engagement. So especially if you're an IT manager, if you're an CIO, or you manage your intranet sites, your Office 365 implementation in your organizations, this is the question that you need to ask: that what can I do to boost employee engagement? So in this talk, I wanted to give you, I wanted to say, break it down into three main pillars for us to actually boost employee engagement. So you have to make sure that your employees are stayed informed, and you keep constantly ask them how they're doing. Ask them if they're struggling with anything. Ask them if they're getting their work done, and make sure that that interaction is always there. And it's once you ask and get feedback, it is important for you to also act on that feedback as well, and make sure that the feedback from your employees is listened and acted on. So with that said, let's actually jump on into some of the solutions that I've put together for a concept of a remote work central portal. So let me quickly share my screen, switch the screen here. So I'm just having a quick look at the um, questions and just hey Daniel, I can confirm that um, people have confirmed that they can actually hear me. I'm just confirming back to Daniel that people are able to hear me. Just bear with me. All right. So here is an example of. Can someone confirm whether they're able to see my screen, please? Cool. Okay. Perfect. Thanks for that. So here is a concept of a remote work central portal that we've put together. So essentially, what it is the inform component of the three pillars that I've mentioned there before, right? So okay, so here is this is actually model based on a similar concept that Microsoft has put together for crisis communications. But essentially, it's not just about crisis. You know, the crisis has got that sort of bad connotation to it. So, and we've just looked at saying that the remote workforce is going to become a permanent fixture going forward. There'll be more and more people working from home or from working from remote locations. So it is essential for every business to actually have a central location where people can come in and consume information, stay up to date with the right information it is. So here we have a SharePoint site where we're actually sharing news. That's pretty standard exercise in when you create a team site or a communication site. In this example, what I've done is I've actually created a team site because there's few things that I wanted to do from a Yammer community point of view as well, which we'll touch base in a second. So we have this team site created, and in the team site, I'll just you can see that one of the key pillars of key things about staying employees informed is to having that sort of video calls, video presence, video connection through face-to-face connection through videos with your employees. So it is really important for the leadership teams to actually have that stay sharing updates through videos. And now that we all have the support of live events through Microsoft Teams, especially if you're using the E licenses, the E1, E3, and E5, and so on, you could actually set up a live event very through using Microsoft Teams. So here's an example of a leadership update that happens every week to keep your employees updated on things that are happening because of COVID-19. It could also be general updates from your company around new projects, how employees are faring and things like that. So as you can see, you can just click on join the meeting, and it is and people can join in from irrespective of where they are. If they don't have Teams, they can actually also join in through the web interface as well. So and I think you are quite onboarded with using Microsoft Live Events as well, because the one that we're using for today's session is a live event setup too. And the best part of the live events is the event can be recorded, and the recording can be shared for later purposes, which we'll have a look as well. So on this site, you can also see that, along with the news and things like that, we also have something called the remote work toolbox. And in the toolbox, what we have is we've created a Q&A bot for people to come and frequently ask questions around remote working. Things like, can I use my own laptop? Or, what are the policies for working from home? Do I need to make sure that the workspace is set up in a certain fashion to make sure that the ergonomics are there and things like that? So, and we also have a few other things that we'll be covering today as well. So I'm just having a quick look to see if anyone's got any questions. Please, if you have any questions, please do ask in the Q&A section, and I'll keep checking and answer those questions as we go through as well. If not, you can ask the questions at the end as well. So with the employee toolbox, if let's look at the bot. So here you can actually see, once I click on the bot, it takes me to the bot on the same page. So here is a Q&A bot that's actually been put together based on the remote work policies that this company has. So here in this case, I can actually say hello or hi. and the bot will reply back and say, in this case, I wanted to find out if I can actually use my laptop. So and the bot will go through from and read a based on the knowledge base. It'll go and it'll actually go and find, it actually understands natural language. Even though a word laptop or something is not mentioned, it goes and finds that, okay, you're talking about devices, so here is the policy on how to use equipment while working remotely. Similarly, you can also see that are there any benefits, like any compensations or benefits. In this case, I'm going to use the word benefits. And what it does, it goes and finds compensation and a benefits section of that particular employee handbook or the remote work policies of your organizations and retrieves it. So this will take away at least some load of your IT support and or your HR persons to actually to answer frequently asked questions. Instead, you have a bot that's helping you out do that. You can definitely improve on this and use something called virtual agents that's been released and add on more knowledge bases or more ability for the bot to go and probably if it cannot answer a particular question, it can actually delegate to a real person as well, like say from IT support or HR person. Perfect. So that's an example of one of the tools that we've incorporated in the remote work central portal. So yeah, also we have things like the occupational health and safety checklist and employee feedback that I wanted to show you today. So one of the customers have actually asked us for actually to build a checklist, especially now that everyone is working remotely due to compliance insurance reasons. It is important for organizations to make sure that your employees are using proper workstations and having that sort of ergonomics sorted out, making sure that there's no trip hazards and things like that. So what we've done is we've created a checklist using Microsoft Forms. Depending on the customer requirements, we can actually do this using Microsoft Forms or Power Apps, or even do something like an in-text form or as well, depending on how the customer wanted to create those fields. But this is a quick abstraction of that idea using Microsoft Forms. Here you can actually see it's asking whether you want to have a dedicated desk or table or computer at home. You could say yes, and pretty much fill in the rest of the form as well. And here you can actually say your computer and other electrical equipment required for work are protected by electrical safety switch. So it is important. So in case if there is an incident at your remote work location, it is important for the organization to know for both insurance and compliance reasons, like I said. So in this case, I can say yes. And some organizations want you to go and send us the photo of your workplace, so that your OHS team can have a look and make any recommendations and so on. So here I can just go ahead and upload a picture of a workstation, and you can also ask for other questions such as, are there any other health risks that we need to know and things like that. In Microsoft Forms doesn't actually support digital signatures, but the combination of asking people to sign in and put in a date stamp, along with allowing the read receipts, like sending an email receipt back to the employee, and also to the manager who's actually managing the form at the back is good enough. So then you go ahead and submit. What it does, it actually so what you've seen here is a simple Microsoft form, but I've shown you a new capability called file upload feature, where you can actually get your users to upload pictures of their workstations or the working environment to make sure that they are compliant with your OHS policies. So that's a quick example of a tool that you can actually build using out-of-the-box capability in Office 365 to support your remote workforce. Similarly, staying on the topic of MS Forms, it is important for us to ask for feedback. So we do have a good tool with us called MS Forms, which allows you to build a nice employee feedback system. You can also do something called Net Promoter Score as well. It's called an employee Net Promoter Score system. So in this case, what we've done is we've created an MS form. You can pretty much do this in Power Apps or Nintex forms as well. So in this case, I'm saying, are you able to get your work done remotely? Yes. Or you can, in this case, let's assume that the employee is struggling or said no, right? In this case, I'm going to say struggling. And I'm going to say, how likely are you going to recommend the remote workforce? I'm going to say 4. Perfect. And now you can also ask for them for a reason for this. So this, I'm just going to say this is a test now. And the best thing that we've found in our experience working with customers is, especially with employee feedback forms, is to make it an anonymous form. So by default, this is an anonymous form, and if the employee wants to actually catch up with the HR or with the remote work community group, they could actually leave their contact details. In this case, I'm going to leave my contact details. And fill in, click submit. So now what happens is you can actually see that, now you can actually see that in the back end, you get a notification come through. So what we've done is we've actually created a Power Automate flow saying that if an employee has said they're struggling, or if they've said no to the first question around is remote work working for you or not. So in this case, they said a notification is sent back to the remote work community saying that an employee needs assistance with remote work. So it is important for you to ask that question, and now you need to act on it. So what you can do here is you can actually see an email has come through. You can click on the link to see what they're doing, what's the reasons for what they're struggling. And what you can do now, you can actually go and reply to this email and set up a meeting request with that employee using Microsoft Teams. So that's the action part of it. And if you wanted to have a quick look at the Power Automate, the flow that I've created, it is fairly simple using one of the templates that which connects, like, when you have a new form submitted, send a notification, send upload to SharePoint. What I've done is I've also added a few conditions in there to make sure that you based on the feedback provided, you can route it to different people. So you just have a quick look at the actual thing itself. So here you're saying, is the feedback, are you struggling with it? If they say yes or no, or depending on the answers, you actually route it and then send email notifications. It's as simple as that. So the other thing I wanted to show you also is on your system, at the back end of your remote work central, we are tracking this employee feedback, and the HR or the OHS person or the remote work community can actually come here and actually look at those employees who are struggling and see how it's using the column, the column formatting capabilities in SharePoint list to actually make those feedbacks stand out, so that as a community member, you can actually go and act on that feedback. So that's an example of an employee feedback system. You can also just on the feedback itself, you can, even if I just bring up the forms. How many of you have actually used something called Net Promoter Score in your organization? Just leave a message in Q&A if you have. If not, I'll just quickly show you what I've got here. So in the remote work system, if you just go back into the responses tab, you can actually see that, using the feedback form, you can actually generate a thing called ENPS. It's the Net Promoter Score system. It is used predominantly in the customer service industry, but you can actually bring that to your employees and say, you just ask them how likely are you to recommend the company for your friend or colleague, and based on their score, it actually produces a NPS score, which you can actually go back and advertise that on your remote portal, remote work central, or on your intranet for that matter. So just coming back to the remote work central, We also have a few things like, it is important for you to make sure that the employees have access to the latest and greatest training information. So what Microsoft has done is they've released something called Learning Pathways. It's actually a packaged site that you can actually go to lookbook.microsoft.com and install it for yourselves. So here you can see when I click on Get Started, it takes me to that Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways, and like like um, Daniel said there before about don't download and run with it. It is important for you to train your employees, set it up properly, and have your own tutorials, or fall back onto Microsoft tutorials to actually learn about how to use Microsoft Teams or any other application in your organization within your Office 365 stack to support support your remote workforce, right? So here we have things around getting started with Teams, for example, and there is a whole bunch of training scenarios and videos and things like that. So just going back to the remote workforce board. So along with the toolkit that we've just seen here, it is important for us to actually create that sort of community, give a community for people to share their experiences in Teams. Sorry, in your remote work for central. So we have a dedicated AMA community to go with this. And here you can actually see that using the AMA web part, we are showcasing that AMA community here in the actual central itself. So again, ties back to that single source of truth, or the central location where employees can come and interact and learn and be informed as well. So we look at the AMR side of things in a tick. When I actually talk about Microsoft Teams, there are a few new updates come through, which actually makes that integration between Teams and Yammer quite seamless as well. So we'll look into that. And as you can see, we've got a section for the community members that people can reach out to. So this is your contacts that you want to share for your remote workforce, to give them a call or jump on a Teams call to ask questions, or to share their experience and things like that. Along with that, we have a placeholder to share our key documents like policies and onboarding checklists and things like that. So remember, we said we use the live events for Microsoft Teams live event to share your company updates. What we're seeing is a lot of organizations are sharing emails about COVID-19 updates and company updates, and once it's in the email, it is quite hard for people to go back and search for those, or it is important, as we said, this day and age, people are more video centric. You're seeing Instagram stories or Facebook stories and things like that. YouTube is one of the second largest search engine. So use of video has gone up a big time. So it is important for you to share your updates on a video so that you can have that face-to-face interaction. It's not just about having that live event. It is about recording and then actually putting them on the same central location so that people can come back and search and find information on what's been discussed like a week ago or a month ago. So in this case, for example, I can actually come in here, click on one of the stream videos in this video, and I can actually showcase the same thing within the same showcase the video within the remote central portal itself. And here the best part is it does actually have audio transcriptions. It allows you to go and search for the spoken word. In this case, I know there's if I just go and say what are the product updates and search for product, you'll actually see that it actually retrieves that information back to me within that video. Especially, let's say you have a large, a 1 hour company update, and you want to get the gist about, okay, what did the leadership team talk about my particular team? You can actually key in your team name and get that information and go and go to that particular part of that video straight away. So that's an example of using the Office 365 stack to bring everything together into one central location and share, inform people, ask for feedback, and act on that. So, but one thing is missing here. Microsoft Teams, right? Most of the people are actually spending a lot of the time using Microsoft Teams. So it is important as an IT as an IT person or an IT pro, it is important for you to make sure that you go and meet the people where they are spending most of their time. So having done all of this in Microsoft Teams, in SharePoint is good using forms and other stuff. It is important for you to make sure that you go and use Microsoft Teams and meet them there. So what we've done is we've actually used the Microsoft Team app functionality to go, and we've done two things. One is we've actually pinned the SharePoint site as an app inside your MS Teams. Here you can actually see I'm in the Teams interface, right? So and you can see there's a custom app. Click on the custom app. What it does is it pretty much takes the copy of that SharePoint site and showcases it as an app inside your Microsoft Teams. So if employees are spending most of the time in Teams, they don't need to leave and go to a different site or to a different application to go and retrieve information. It is about, again, staying informed where you are. So it gives you that ability to pretty much showcase the same site without the navigation and the top menus and other stuff. So straight to the point and give you the ability to engage with your users this way. And the same functionality of the remote hub, the bot, and everything works within the Teams interface as well. If you have more time, you can actually publish this bot as a tab inside this app as well. But what Microsoft has done recently is they've given us the ability to showcase individual the Yammer as a tab. So what we've done is because people use Teams and Teams channels a lot. So what we've done is we've created a channel inside a organization-wide team called the Remote Work Central. Here, if I just go to that team, you can actually see all the posts related to any questions around Microsoft Teams and things like that. Or you can actually go, and if you don't want to do the app thing here and pin it, you can also propagate. You can show up your SharePoint site as a tab inside that organization-wide channel as well. But I highly recommend you to go and pin the SharePoint site as an app so that it actually gives you better visual representation of your exact site. So here you can actually see the same site is shown here too. But the good part is with the recent update, they've released something called a new app called Communities. You can just pretty much go into apps and search for Communities, and it's actually a new updated Yammer application for MS Teams. So it even gives you the latest Yammer user interface updates as well. Here you can actually see that what we've done, we've pinned that Yammer group to as a tab. Now people can come here and interact and engage in that Yammer feed. And the best part of this new app, the Communities app, is it's not just showcase your groups, the Yammer groups, or or all company feeds. You can even showcase a specific topic. So if you get your employees to start to use hashtags around remote work, you can actually start to showcase and go and respond to them. In this case, what I've done, I'll just quickly show you. Go to the actual Yammer Communities app itself, and here is your latest the updated UI for the Yammer. Right here you can actually see that I've actually praised Alex for a job that he's done in order to setting up this remote work central and launching Microsoft Teams and things like that. It is important for you to go and praise people in either in Teams or in Yammer, because it is about creating that culture of instant recognition. So because people are working in an isolated environment doesn't mean that they don't know what's their work doesn't get recognized. So it is more important now to get that to recognize your employees' good work. So I'm just having a look at the Q&A to see if there's anything in there. All right. OK, so now it's also important to actually ask your employees to share their experiences. So remember that we used to have that experience of blogs inside SharePoint back in the day, but the blogging experience in the current Delve is going away, and there is no real good blogging use case at the moment. So having said that, you can do the blogging. You can have the ability to blog using the Yammer community. That's exactly the reason why we started off creating this remote working portal using as a Yammer community to start with. So here you can actually see that I've posted a long form article on, my 8 remote working tips. Yeah, I've used the announcement post type inside Yammer to post a long form article in this here, and I've also used the hashtag so that people can actually go and follow the hashtag and get to and engage in the actual post itself. So that's a quick snapshot of the remote work central portal that we've actually built, and some of those components are actually being used in some councils here in Melbourne. So Daniel, that's pretty much concludes the actual demo itself. I just wanted to know if there's any questions or anything like that.
Yeah, if anyone does have any questions, please feel free to post them, send them to Jag. It's pretty cool, all this sort of stuff that comes together.
Yeah.
Everything. So it does come with a lot of questions, especially with what happens even when. So if you do have it, please ask.
Yep, perfect. Thanks for that, Daniel. I just wanted to complete it with a quick takeaway and also share some additional resources as well to go with it. So one is, as we've looked at it, it is important for us to ask, listen, and act on employee feedback. And it is important for us to build that culture of instant recognition using Yammer Praise or even Microsoft Teams Praise as well. And use video, like I said, and using the learning pathways or using SharePoint or the remote work central, showcase video-based tutorials so that people can actually cross-skill. It is important at this time of crisis to really have that ability to have that cross-skilling happening so that people can keep their job and stay secure and so on. So have that in there. So if you need additional resources on how we put together the site, I'll do a full blog post on sharing the slides and the actual the backend componentry of how we've put this together. Please do check out my website at modernwork.cloud. And also, if you wanted to pin your SharePoint site or intranet to your teams, there is a nice resource on the GitHub on how to do that. And also there's a few other Microsoft forms and things like that. The Microsoft is actually recently published on the MS Tech community for you to go and see how you can actually build that, especially around health and travel declarations and things. And by the way, if you're doing some work around COVID-19 crisis management, Dynamics 365 comes with the 6 months free license, especially to build Power Apps and the Power Automate flows and things like that. So check it out as well. And lastly, the Yammer community blog, the Yammer community app that we've just seen. If you want a full end-to-end video on how to use that, my mate here in Adelaide, in Melbourne, Daniel Anderson, has put together a nice video on LinkedIn or on YouTube. Please do check out sharepointfocus.com to get a complete end-to-end solution on how to do that too. So with that said, if you have any questions, like Daniel said, please do reach out to me. That's if you scan that QR code, it'll take you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active on LinkedIn as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'm happy to answer them. That's pretty much it from my side, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Jag. It's much appreciated and very well welcomed. It's been a long time since we've been caught up, as we were talking last night. So, yeah. Very happy that you could spare some time and present to our group. So thank you very much on that. And thank you to everyone who could join as well. I mean, I know these times are quite difficult. I am flexible to times because I know this is around knock-off time, kids, school, all of that sort of stuff. So I am very flexible to that. And thank you, everyone. Just a couple things of note. Jag mentioned that YouTube is the second largest search engine, and video is becoming more and more dominant in a way of communicating. And you mentioned, Jag, about how you could upload videos to your employees and spread the word and spread the news via that way. And I know from my experience, there's a lot of people like, well, we don't have video equipment, we don't have all of that, we can't do that. And my response to that is you download the Microsoft Stream app on your phone, and there's your camera, and there's your quick sort of streaming service at phone.
Yeah.
That can give you those quick videos, even into those sort of 30-second quick updates. Hey, everyone, this is the latest news. Be well, be safe. Got any questions, give me a holler. And those can go straight into Microsoft Stream, and you can embed them as well. Is that something that is doable, Jack?
Yes, absolutely. That's a new update coming through on the Microsoft Stream, where you can actually do like Instagram stories and things. Can you believe it or not? Stories are coming to SharePoint and Office 365. So, especially what we've seen here, Daniel, is if leadership teams are actually using video and are seen to be present in a video format and answering questions and doing town hall type meetings and things like that, it actually motivates the employees and stays them informed as well. So that actually helps a long way in order for you employees to be more productive.
No, perfect. And the other thing is Stream storage space is I think by default is 1 terabyte. So I don't think you're going to be running out of it anytime soon if that is the case. There are plans to obviously buy additional space, but that is 1 terabyte in space as well.
Yeah.
And one last thing, sorry to mention, is you mentioned the D365 subscription because of COVID-19. There is also an O365 E1 subscription because of COVID-19 as well. So if you are affected, please, you can take advantage of those subscriptions. They are come with 6 months full-blown licenses. They are an E1 license from the O365 side. And just be aware that after 6 months, they will end. You will have to keep purchasing them, at which point you may have to reintegrate that data into your existing network data. So it is something, as I've been saying, please put it on board and be aware of that. So does anyone else have any questions? If you do, please feel free to post them. Or get in contact with Jag. As Jag said, he's pretty active on LinkedIn and very approachable. Let's give everyone a moment to post if they've got any questions.
No, I don't see anything.
I think we're good.
Cool.
So thank you everyone for coming, and thank you Jag for speaking again. We'll wrap it up here for this month. Next month we do have myself presenting. But yeah, sorry, before I get to that, thank you, Jag, and thank you, everyone, again. I do want to make sure I do thank everyone, because these times are a bit hectic. And next month, I have myself presenting on COVID-19 lessons learned with moving into O365. So that's file migrations, Teams, and a whole bunch of stuff like that, of how COVID has been the dominant change in business to make it digital.
Yeah, I definitely.
So.
Yeah, I wanted to actually look. I'm quite keen on that session there, Daniel, because I'm seeing a lot of customers ask for moving network shares into SharePoint and OneDrive for Business at the moment. So it is important for them to actually learn the best practice approaches and things. Yeah.
Yeah, many people have been called out with the whole lift and shift. We just copy paste, and that's just something that just can't be done with SharePoint. There's a whole bunch of reasons, but tune in next month to find out best practice for it and to deal with it. So thank you, everyone. Next month, let me just open up the calendar date because I am terrible with dates. It is the 19th of May, and at this stage, it's at 4 p.m. Tuesday, the third Tuesday of the month. So thank you, everyone, and thank you again, Jag. And
thanks, Matt. Cheers.
See you later, everyone.